Alright, hello everybody. How are you all doing tonight? Hello, hello. Hi all. One Drunk Man, Obsidian. Thank you so much for the 13 months, my friend. Thank you. Soran, hello and goodbye, in case you're still here. Garlic, 10 peaches. Oh, you're awake. Considering that you were up pretty much a very long time. You're actually up. Good, how am I? I'm doing okay. Kind of stressed out for my work stuff, but other than that, I'm doing fine. Healthy and well. It's kind of cold here today, or a little cooler. I don't know. The weather's been fluctuating a bit these days. Rob, hey. JS Eiler, J Sisler, I'm not sure. 1776, thank you so much for the 22 bits. Shuhyung, hello. Iowa, hello. K-Money, hello. Reborn, how are you? I ordered my birthday keyboard build yesterday. Oh. What do you order? What do you get? That's exciting. Thank you so much for the 27 bits. JS Seidler. Thank you so much. Alright, so today we actually have a keyboard that I showed very briefly before. And that's the Droplet TKL. I think the title should show it. And so last time I just kind of showed you what it looked like, and today we're actually going to be building it, right? So for those who don't know, the Droplet TKL, there's the information from Keycaps over there at the build command, !build for that. But basically it's a board that was run just recently. It's being run from Korea, so it's all run through one vendor, and there were, I believe, 100 units for them. The group I already ran, and it's currently in production. So basically, there's people who are currently waiting for their board. But Bahm from Korea, the designer, he was gracious to reach out, and he offered to send out a board for me to check out. Of course, like take pictures, that kind of stuff, build it, and basically just, try it out. So that's what we're gonna be doing here today. Druas, what's up? Pork, thank you so much for the tier 1 for 3 months. Thank you. I want to. Hey, that's a nice looking board. Thank you. Subathon lasted like 18 plus hours. I was up for 28 because I had worked the previous day. Oh my god, that's crazy. That's so long. I don't know if I can. At this point I don't know if I can stay up like all night as I used to be able to. It's just too much. That's part of why I actually am not very keen on the idea of a subathon. It's just kind of like a bit too straining for myself. I'm worried I might get sick on like the next few days or something like that. But yeah, Champot, hey, how's it going? Nine Walker, hello. Yeah. So let's get right into it, shall we? Since, well, there's not much else to do here. I don't really have any announcements in particular to make. I mean, an announcement that I have to make, I guess, is for those who haven't seen, the Salvation by Welvatech and Salvin is now live on salvin.com. It will be live on the other proxy soon. It is a Saturday here, so it's possible that it won't be live until Monday for some of the vendors. So it's just a matter of waiting a little bit for that. But it's now live on Salvin's website. Don't do it? Don't do what? Huh? What'd I do? Did I do something weird? Did something weird happen? Oh, Salvation? I don't know. Is the business gray to match with Dolchar 5? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, you mean... I haven't looked into all the options just yet. I have to be honest, I was busy until just now. So I haven't looked at the product page, actually. But it's live. It's the point. But I mean, these are all colors that are kind of common, right? I mean, silver, black, and gray are always available in most keyboard group buys. It's kind of a staple, right? You always have those just for matching, pretty much like globally. Just, you know, whatever purchase you make, you'll match, right? Don't do a subathon. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm not sure I would. Anytime soon, at least. I wouldn't do it until I had a lot of free time and a lot of time to rest before and after, pretty much. Where are these artisans from? This one's by Keyforge. This one's by Bludgeon Caps. This one's by Artkey, Booper, Prime Caps, Hungerworks Studio, and Tiny Makes Things. They all are different. Different artisan makers. Alright, so let's open it up. So first of all, I guess I'll just show it. It comes in a keyboard bag, somewhat similar to the other ones that I've seen. I believe like Gion, for example, uses a similar bag. But basically it's one of those gray keyboard bags with a zipper and a plastic handle. So you open it up here. I already messed around with the contents beforehand because I showed it before. So basically there's a divider here. And you should do a cap subathon. Oh, I see. Yeah, I could try that, yeah. So here we have some accessories, it looks like. We can take a quick look at them. So here we have some Allen keys, some hex keys, right? So these are going to be useful if I didn't have the tools, but I do have tools, so it's fine. These are some extra screws, some extra countersunk screws, more these button screws, and some more screws. Basically, a lot of different screws. These, I believe, are the side accent pieces that can be replaced. So there's the option between brass and polycarb. And acrylic, I believe, I guess. This is acrylic, yeah. But basically these two options. Oh, actually, no, this is polycarb, I think. Yeah. And then these are bump-ons, which we'll apply shortly. But I don't think I need all these screws right now, nor the keys. So we can probably put these back in the bag. The render for business grade of Subathon of Salvation has Dolchar 5 on it? Yeah, because Dolchar 5 is so lit. Of course. Of course it would have Dolchar 5. Then again, probably because I think the renders were done by Mr. Zambamon, so I think that might explain it. But yeah. So here's our PCB that we're gonna be using today. This is the first time I used this PCB. Oh wait, it's not focusing. This is the first time I use this PCB. This is a C3 LDN 87 key RGB PCB. So this is the PCB by C3. It was made in two versions, I guess. There was a first version that was released like years ago, and then this is kind of like the new version of it. But basically, it's just some minor improvements, I think, to the firmware and whatnot. But basically, the idea of it is the same. It just has a lot of RGB. Okay, it has per key RGB. It has underglow RGB, all the RGB, okay? So we'll see a lot of RGB today for our board. So one thing about C3's PCB, something to note, is that it is programmable using their utility. So they basically have their own kind of proprietary tool to program, which is kind of a bummer, to be honest with you, because honestly, I would love to just see it on QMK, or love to see it on any other utility that's just kind of more intuitive. I tried it out already, actually, because I was a bit worried, And so I just gave it a shot. I was able to reprogram keys and whatnot, but it was actually not as bad as I thought. But like, if I wanted to change like very specific things, so like the RGB or like whatever, it's like manual work. So it's like a little bit of a hassle. But I mean, then again, I kind of expected that from any like third-party tool, I think. So I guess as long as it's programmable, I can't complain. And as long as it boots up, you know, like as long as it doesn't give me problems as far as function, I think it's okay. But yeah, lots of RGB on this PCB. Just standard thickness, by the way. So 1.6 millimeter PCB. And then we have our switch plate here. So switch plate, pretty standard. It's just 1.5 millimeter aluminum. Normal cutouts, universal cutouts, as you can see. It supports split backspace, supports step caps lock and normal. You can do 6.25 or 7U, and you can split the right shift as well, and ISO and ANSI. So pretty much like very typical universal 87 key plate. So this is gonna be a TKL plate that has universal compatibility. So if you want ISO, you can do that. If you want ANSI, you can do that. If you want to split things, you can do that. You know, standard stuff. Nothing too crazy. And here's the board. I think this PCB is on group buy and daily clock. Oh, I see. Didn't know. I think it needs more RGB. And so here it is. Look at that. So as you can see, the bottom has a. It's very reflective because my light is like right there, as you can tell. But basically, it's not a silver bottom actually. It's actually a steel, it's a steel slab that has been attached to the bottom piece. You can see the countersunk screws at 4 corners here. That basically is a thin slab of stainless steel that's been brushed and then laser engraved to the bottom. So yes, Durock is completely right. It's exactly something that you would not see during actual use. Correct, 100% correct. Today we have one in the wind key layout. It says Nightly Rain, I believe. Yeah, Nightly Rain, and then has a girl under a street lamp with her umbrella and a bunch of droplets, and there's the moon and I guess a rain cloud, a few rain clouds. But yeah, so that's the engraving. And what's interesting about this case, I'll kind of show more about it shortly. One sec. And so what's particularly special about this particular case is that it's actually not anodized. It's painted. I'll detail more about the finish shortly. But this is the bottom piece. Oh, actually, I guess this is not brass. Is it brass? No, I'm not sure. Actually, hold up. I think this might be steel, but let me double check with. Well, the actual units on the group buy had a brass bottom weight, so the bottom weight is pretty big and heavy, as you can tell right away. But basically, this is a chunky piece of metal for the bottom weight. You know why they didn't put those engravings on the bottom weight instead? Probably because it's a lot of detail to put on the outside. Maybe they just didn't want to see it on the outside, you know. Dude, you have a Blackbird? Yeah, I've had the Blackbird for like years. It was actually like one of my first few boards in the community when I got into community. But yeah. So yeah, so the back has this big, well, droplet. That's why it's called a droplet. And so this is actually coated too. This is also coated. It has this clear coat on it. So there's no way this will tarnish or anything like that. So I know that the group by thread and the intersection thread had some prototypes with brass brass patina and stuff, but this one's definitely coated. So this one, you know, as you can see that there's a bit of a glossy finish to it. It's not that, I mean, it's just reflective in the light, but it's not nothing crazy. But yeah, hefty board here. Looks like the bump-ons are extras actually. I guess I won't need these bump-ons right now. Okay, and so as you can see on the outside edges, right? So on the side here, we actually have these side pieces. So these are kind of accent pieces. They can be either brass, steel, or aluminum, whatever you name it, right? And they've also provided here some polycarb ones that we can replace in here, right? If you wanted to have RGB diffusion, right? So that's another option you have. Again, the bottom side, you can see the sides have handles for them, basically. They have cutouts here, so you can like actually grab it from the sides, which is kind of nice. So easy to handle. I do like the look of this being like not clear actually, just because I probably would not mind having, like, I don't think I would care too much for the RGB. The port looks pretty nice actually here. The port is a nice cutout. I think this cutout would probably be compatible for USB Mini, but actually the width makes me think it might even be workable with USB Type-C. And I think it is, yeah. I actually think this is kind of a bit of a hybrid cutout. So if the PCB is the correct one, I think this might actually work with like an H87C, which I don't have actually. I don't have an H87C here to try it, but I mean, I wanted to also try this C3 PCB today, so it doesn't matter. I can always desolder later, so it's not a problem. But yeah, the cutout's actually, this is a nice cutout. I do like it. But yeah, internal engraving's all cool and all that. Let's actually take it apart just so I can show you. Again, I'll take it apart just so I can show you the individual pieces. There's something sweet about knowing the illustrations inside, but you'll literally never see it except when it's disassembled. How often are you gonna do that? That's a good point. I mean, Drawers doesn't make like a invalid argument here, right? It's totally fine to say that. I think it's like some people kind of feel the satisfaction of knowing that there's like a nice detail in there that you can check out. I mean, then again, how else do you customize keyboards? Like do you make it gaudy and very, very detailed on the outside? Like the only other way of making things kind of custom looking on the outside is if you like either like you engrave things on the outside, you like infill things on the outside, you cut things differently, so you machine things in a different shape, right? Like that's the only way you can customize things, right? So basically there's not too much you can do anyway, so might as well put it on the inside, right? It's like one of those things. It's a part of the customizability, you know? But yeah. So, you know, one of those things. So here is, so again, just keep in mind, this is a prototype sample unit. So there are some blemishes slash imperfections, but that's just a part of the coating actually, part of the paint. So this is a painted piece, as you can tell. It was painted, looks like from like regular aluminum, so like silver color, right? So let me actually zoom in now on the finish. So this is what the finish looks like. It's actually very smooth. The texture is basically smooth. It's a smooth finish. It has this pearlescent sort of like, it's almost like it has like minuscule like nanometric. I mean, like not really, but just like very, very small kind of like glitter. You know, like it's like it has a bit of a pearlescent sort of view to it. You can see it from certain like as I like move it around a little. So pretty neat, I think. Which is pretty nice. It's a very nice navy color in my opinion. The consistency of the paint is actually pretty good. Obviously there's a few imperfections here and there, like you can see that there's a little line here. Maybe I think this line might have been from like, you know, something tracing or something like that. I don't know what they were doing, or maybe that was where the hooks were, like when something was holding it. But yeah, there's like some smaller imperfections. Powder coat, no. So they actually told me it's a paint. It's a type of paint. It's a special application of paint that they use. And you can actually tell now from the edges that, of course, it can't get to all of the like inner corners here, which it doesn't really matter personally. I think on the interior is okay. Obviously, there's a few marks here. I think this is just some of it scraping off, maybe like when the paint was still fresh. But again, these are fairly small details. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. The color, like I think the color is pretty consistent throughout, which is nice. And the texture of all things is what kind of like the texture is what I would be concerned about, but it's not an unpleasant texture. So it's not like glossy and unpleasant to the touch. Because you know how like there's some boards that are like glossy and it kind of feels like it's slippery, but if you like rub hard, it'll like stop your finger because it has like thick feeling to it, like a almost like viscous, or like, you know, there's some like glossy like painting, or I mean like paints or like coatings that tend to have that kind of like texture that like you like rub it and it feels sticky, or it feels like it's like kind of like leaving like fingerprint marks and stuff. Yeah, so this doesn't seem to have that much of that. Like I can do this and it doesn't look like it puts a lot of like it doesn't really put like fingerprint marks on it or anything, so it's pretty nice. So I'm fairly pleased with how this looks. Now let's go on to the bottom piece. And now here's the bottom piece. Again, the bottom piece does have some minor imperfections too. As you can see, there's some fingerprint marks from, I think this was from handling prior to the brushing maybe. That like, or like right after it got brushed, like this kind of still there. I think you can technically wipe it off if you like maybe use like some alcohol and just like wipe it off properly. Yeah, I think it actually does wipe off, but it's a bit, you know, because of the brush, I think it kind of stays a bit, but it's not hard to clean at all. I think I would just need some isopropyl alcohol or something like that and it'll clean up. But the engraving overall looks really clean. That's just like a piece of fuss. Engraving looks pretty nice. Nightly rain, droplets, and the girl under the street lamp, and pretty sharp looking laser engravings. The texture is pretty normal. It's like a laser etch, so like you can't just like easily scratch it off, but I'm sure that if you took something sharp to this, like you could definitely see some marks if you know obviously tried. But yeah, you know, no reasonable person would do that. So I think you would be okay. Let's see. So like, would you sell it? No. Dashkov, hello. Long time no see indeed. How are you? Hamtaro, hello. Do you think lube until you stop hearing scratchiness? What? Do you lube until you stop hearing scratchiness? No, I lube about the same on every switch I use. Novelty creams though will require some breaking in, so you probably should do that. Tornado, hello. Wow, so handsome. Oh my god. Wow. Holy Diego, looking very handsome. I'm slowly going insane with these entry messages getting more strange. Yeah, that's kind of getting a little wild there. So actually let's take this off because I'm kind of curious at what it looks like underneath. So as you can see, the accent pieces here are just screwed in with 2 different screws, and there's some alignment pins for them. And then, but let's actually undo the bottom plate. So it has 4 hex countersunk screws at each corner. It's only fitting that you put GMK Rainy Day. I don't have GMK Rainy Day, or I didn't order that set, so unfortunately I don't have that. Sup? What's up? Sifo, how you doing, man? Alright, so, you know, we take this off. And as you can see, bottom's also coated, which is nice. So they actually coated the entire, they painted the entire piece, which is pretty sweet. But as you can see, this is not that thick. It's not very thick. I actually have a little bit of my, I have a kitty ruler here, so we can measure this out. It is about, it's only about 1.5 millimeter thick. So basically, it's like a switch plate. So it's basically the thickness of a switch plate. It's 1.5 mils. Do you have Modern Dolce? I do have Modern Dolce. Yes, I do have Modern Dolce. But yeah, so what's kind of nice about this is you could actually just remove it, and you'll be okay. You could basically go to a shop, ask them to cut out a piece of 1.5 mil rectangular steel plate, and you could engrave something for yourself. Yeah, I think this is steel. No, wait, is it? Yeah, I think it is. It's just, yeah, it's definitely steel. It would be much lighter if this were aluminum. So, yeah, it's brushed steel with a laser engraving. But yeah, I think it would not be hard to basically have something like this made for yourself. You could engrave whatever you wanted, and basically just slide it in like a tray and screw it in, and that's it. You'd have to figure out the radius of the corners, yeah, but with calipers you can do it, right? Like you can do it. Like if you're gonna take it to a shop, right? You can do it. You can figure that out. Like it's not that hard, right? And then you're the only one who gets to enjoy it. Nice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, what I'm saying is just, it's there, okay? You know, like this is just an extra little bit of, like, it's an extra touch. But basically it affects nothing about the functionality of the board, which is fine. I mean, all it took was 4 screw holes here, and that's it, right? That's it. The weight is external, as you can see, so the weight is actually attached on the outside. So this piece, we could actually remove it just to take a look at it. See how the tolerances of that are as well, maybe. You can take a look. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty simple simple bottom plate thing that you can, that, you know, adds a bit of an extra touch, which is, I think it's fine. I mean, you could pretty much do it with, I guess, most of keyboard designs at this, you know, because all it is just a little thin slab of metal sheet. Sits in the bottom. Who designs this? It's pretty neat. Their name is Bahm, or it's Bahm, Bahm. Actually, do exclamation build, and there's a Keycaps right there too. They've been making some other boards before this. Actually, they've been making like the Evelyn, and like I think there was a Jetstorm and a few other boards I remember. And I believe they are also working with other designers as well. Like in Korea, I think they might be working with yeah. Anyway, let's also take off. What if I wanted a picture of Diego and JD on it? You could do that, Obsidian. You could take this to a shop and say, I want this guy's face and this tiger engraved on my bottom plate thing. What the? Let's do it. Oh wait, this is a slightly different, slightly smaller size, I think. Oh wait, no. I think it was the right size. That was the right size. Yeah, okay. Let's do it with my non-existent droplet. Okay, so let's actually also take off the bottom piece, because might as well, right? We might as well take a look at the whole thing. I know that a lot of people don't take out all of the different weight pieces because they tend to normally just be, you know, pieces of metal that are just sitting in grooves. But I get curious sometimes as to how these things are put together. Like for example, so I've been chatting recently about just like bottom piece design stuff with some people, and like one of them where they mentioned the T-jar commission with ADZ that they did with Nathan, right? And that one had like a double weight, but he never took off the actual weight, which was kind of a bummer. Okay. Oh, okay. So it looks like it is indeed brass. So as you can see, the outside is actually painted or coated. So this is a finish that they applied, but you can tell that this is raw brass on the bottom. And I think this is just, they did a square of it just to sample it. So this is obviously just to sample things. They're testing things out, I think. And so they basically just did a rectangle of it to see if it worked. And then the bottom side of it is just raw brass that will eventually patina. But basically though, it's just this is a prototype. Yes, it is a prototype. And so here is the bottom piece. So as you can see, just engraved, like, you know, elevated part here for the droplet shape, and the weight just sits around it on the bottom externally. So again, I think this is also no, this looks a little thicker. This looks like it's, let me measure it. This is 2 millimeters thick, so slightly thicker than the actually, let's weigh things now. It's 2 millimeters thick. Yeah. So let's actually weigh things out here. So let's see. So just the bottom external weight is about 15 ounces, which is basically almost a pound. So that's about 425 grams. So about half a kilo, let's say. Let's just round up and say half a kilo for the weight. And then we have like 1.6 kilos. So basically all together with the bottom piece is about 2 kilograms. So 2 kilograms, or this is 3 pounds and 10 or 11 ounces actually, including the internal piece. The internal piece, I imagine, is not that heavy. Maybe I should have actually just kept it removed, but I assume that the internal piece is maybe like another 400 grams or something, but I can't imagine it being too heavy. But we'll take it off actually, just to try it out, try to see what it actually all weighs together. Yeah, I get curious about these things occasionally. So let's just do some work here. So this is a pound, about exactly a pound, or 460 grams. So you basically have a bottom piece made out of aluminum with these little accent pieces that weighs about 1.2 kilograms. Then you add about 460 kilograms, and then you finally add like another 400 and so kilograms to basically have like a 2 kilogram bottom piece, right? So all together you have 2 kilograms, right? And let's just say I would add the PCB and plate on it, right? So all together, and you know, no switches and no keycaps, right? So all together it would weigh about 2.64 kilograms, which is 5 pounds and 13 ounces, almost 6 pounds. So this board, all built, will be about 6 pounds in weight. So pretty heavy actually. Like this is a decently heavy board for a TKO. 6 pounds is actually pretty. It's like right there where it's like not medium, but it's like kind of heavy, like on the heavier side of things. Definitely not the heaviest. I've definitely seen heavier boards than this, but this is still pretty good, like of a weight for like as far as TKLs go. I think that I've seen in the past. And this is all considering that, you know, it has just aluminum and thin pieces of brass and steel along with it. So I'm just gonna screw these back in. Yeah, pretty heavy for what it is. Yeah. I think I actually thought it was going to be lighter, because when I saw the thicknesses of the slabs, like for the internal and external weights, I actually thought they were going to be lighter. And aluminum is not that heavy, so I thought, okay, maybe it's not as heavy. But yeah, no, it is like 6 pounds all built, basically. So decently heavy for what it is. And we can put these back in. So yeah, so we basically have weights that are about a pound each, or 450 grams each, right? And the rest of the case that weighs about what was it, 2 kilograms, 3 kilograms, 3 kilograms, I think. So here for the painted finish, anodizing getting boring. Anodizing is pretty predictable. That's the thing, right? You kind of know what anodizing is going to look like, so it's nice to go for anodizing when you are going for something that you already know what's gonna look like. I think painting and Cerakoting and E-coat and that kind of stuff is pretty cool. I mean, CFO, if you missed it, like, here's a close-up of the paint. It's like pearlescent navy. It's just it's kind of a flat navy in certain angles. Like, it looks very flat like this, but in certain lighting, you can see that, like, the pearlescent look. It's pretty cool. Actually, I like it a lot. I really like this painted look, though. Okay, I'm gonna drop test of the droplet, maybe afterwards. Okay, I'm just gonna put it aside, actually. Let's get to the build itself. Okay, so you can probably just put this aside. I'm gonna test the PCB first. I didn't test it fully, I guess. Like as in all the keys. So we're gonna do that first. Ooh, okay, that's a lot of RGB. So look at that, all the RGB, RGB under, RGB over, RGB everywhere. So today, since I'm just gonna use switch hitter because it's easier. Okay, clear. All right, let's test it out. I programmed some of the keys here, so it should be wait, oops. Okay. Pretty sure I programmed this as a function key, so okay, yeah. Alright, so that works. We're gonna be building in traditional layout. I'm gonna use a 7U spacebar, and everything's gonna be long shifts and step caps lock, kind of like typical TKL look that I like. Basically like win keyless, but with the win keys. 7U bottom row. Yeah, alright. So far so good. Program that to control as usual. Okay. But so far so good. And okay. And arrow keys. Alright, cool. Everything's working as intended. That's good. We can just continue with the build now. How you doing? Sorry for being a little late. No worries. Win key. Zang and step caps. Yeah. Exactly. Pretty much. 7U and step caps lock. Yep. Alright. I'll put it on this side. We don't need it right now. Gamer indeed. Need someone to hold me like JD is holding Ron. Pretty cute, huh? So we have some V2 Durock steps today. Nothing too special. Smoky housing, black wires. And we'll try using the BDZ again this time today. So just to give it a shot for once in a while. Let's see. So we're just gonna do a mild lubrication of the housings and the stems. JD is saving Ron for snack later. Oh my god, that is I guess it's law of nature, the food chain. Diego, you picking up the Beam fulfillment sale? Yeah. It looks so good. It looks so good, doesn't it? I mean, I thought it looked great. Thank goodness that's a fulfillment one, because it would have sucked if it was just a limited release, and it's so nice. It's simple, but very nice looking. Dang, that's a lot of lube. Yeah, that's what happens when you build a lot of keyboards. You end up getting a lot of lube for all these things that you have to do. So yeah, that's what I did. And this is not even my first tub of lube, actually. This is my second tub of lube. Or something like that. So I've actually used about a full tub's worth of lube, and then this is like my second, like my refill. What's with all the recent Diego Artisan collabs, and how do I get it? I don't even know, because so the bro caps thing is definitely not me. Just so you know. It's just bro and Bunny doing an homage to Mr. Bowie, because that's obviously what it is. If you don't know who David Bowie is, you should probably look him up. And if you don't know his music, you should probably check it out. Rest in peace. But yeah, so there's that. The recent stuff that came out with Dolce, though, they were basically key set collaborations. So all like the Prime Caps, Albumin, like that kind of stuff was all key set collaboration that I had suggested like a long time ago, and we finally kind of got around to it, or rather, they finally got around to it. So the broadcast didn't make an Artisan for you? No. No. The reality is no. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't ever have one, because I don't think no one is really entitled to anything, you know, unless I guess they paid for it or whatever. But yeah, I haven't paid a price or anything, so it's not mine. It's most definitely not mine. I'm sure he would. I don't know about that. You never know, man. I mean, what if there's like 3 of them, and you know, there's more avid collectors. It's okay. I mean, they did go through all the work to post that clarification Instagram story, so maybe I would sincerely hope that I have a chance. But because it looks pretty neat. I think the colorway is fantastic. One thing about the sculpt though is that I did think that the egg sort of the egg face, right? The face part kind of looked really big, right? Kind of like relative to the helmet. So I kind of want to look at it in person to really determine if that's kind of like a thing about the photo or just like a thing of scale, where the face does look a little big. But it's kind of jarring, but at the same time, the egg face like character, like figure itself, is supposed to be jarring. Is supposed to be jarring, you know? Like, I feel like, so I'm not sure if you guys know, but the egg face is actually inspired by, the egg face sculpt is inspired by by art by Sergio Bustamante, who is who's a Mexican artist, a sculptor, and they do like all kinds of different work. But basically, the egg face is based on that, right? It's based on like this egg head work that Sergio did, like Bustamante did, and it's such a jarring figure. Like, it's extremely jarring. And so I kind of feel like scaling it up is actually sort of appropriate, you know? It's like, it really is kind of like a space creature at this point, which is kind of cool. I don't know. I think that's kind of neat. It kind of goes with the theme, I guess, with the colorway. It's a real like space oddity. 20 minutes back. I'll be back when you're done lubing stabs. True. That's a maybe too. Will I be done lubing stabs in 20 minutes? Maybe. Hi Yura, how are you? I only like cute artisans. I used to be that way too, 10 Peaches. But I guess I started appreciating more as I kind of got to know a lot of different makers and artists, and kind of like started to appreciate the work that goes into them. That I'm kind of okay with jarring bizarre figures now, but at the same time, I do most definitely have a bias towards cute and like simple stuff. But hyper, like extremely detailed kind of sculptures are interesting to look at, but I think that's about it. It's like I kind of look at it once and I'm like, all right, the novelty sort of wore off finally, or like too quickly rather. Whereas for simple sculptures, I think you can do a variety of colors, right? And I think the colors sort of bring out more for those like simpler sculpts, and it just looks good. But for the more complicated stuff, it's like you look at this, like, you know, a few casts, right? Like in this case of like resin casting, like resin cast artisans, and I'm like, okay, that's good. But I'm kind of done looking at it. It's like, all right, cool, all details are there, nice, great sculpture, you know, like it's like amazing skill, like sculpting this figure. But it definitely, I feel like, wears off for me a bit more quickly than cute stuff. Thank God I have cheap artisan taste. Yeah, I would be thankful if that were the case for me too. I don't have cheap artisan taste, unfortunately. It sucks. I definitely have a bit of a, I would say it's not necessarily addictive persona, but like kind of like, no, I definitely have a bit of an attachment to these things. So I think that's kind of where it comes from. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, where's my? Am I missing one? Okay. I'm missing one of the little thingies, but I have extras, but weird. Oh, okay. I mean, I have extras around. It's just kind of weird that I'm missing one. Maybe I dropped it somewhere. First thing I really loved and wanted was a Garbo. Boy, howdy did I learn some harsh realities early on. Yeah, I think to be enthralled by things that are very unattainable, yeah, you're faced with a very harsh reality for sure. It's tough, man. It's tough. Oh, hello, Mr. Sarankom. How are you doing? Let me get one of those extra pieces because I can't. Oh, I dropped it here. Here it is. It was on my lap. I didn't know they were unobtainable, just like them. Oh yeah, you wouldn't know they were unobtainable until you kind of ask about it. So yeah. Well, it's interesting though, right? I mean, I'm assuming you came in when the first Garbo Plus sculpt came out. So the first one kind of has a bit of a history in the sense that like it was actually remarkably harder to get just because it was so heavily commissioned rather than like made for retail sales and whatnot. So that sculpt in particular had a longer history of commissions and like private sort of sales, and it was hard for basically anybody, even including those people who had the, you know, money to afford it, let's say. So yeah, the only three sculpts I remotely like are Shishi, Fugu, and Brobot V2. Excellent taste. Those are all classic skulls at this point. I think especially Fugu and Brobot. Those are like super classic. But yeah, Sarankom, it's good to see you here. I guess good morning for you if you're in Korea. Is Mr. Bahm gonna be joining us today? Does he watch streams at all? I also like series from Archie Universe. Yeah, Archie Universe does neat stuff, eh? Yeah. I like their stuff too. They do a lot of kind of like more complex like details on figures and stuff, which is cool and all. But I actually kind of don't. Something about Archie is that I like them, but it lacks a bit of cohesiveness on some of their different sculpts, and I think I like some colorways and with some of their skulls, but definitely not too many. But yeah, hello Caps. Yeah, bongos are really cute and really technically well done. CYSM Kibis and stuff, those are cool too. Those are cute, pretty simple too. Togepi, yeah, those are all good. Those are all good choices for cuter and simpler sort of sculpts. Yeah. Anyway, heard from Bahm that you want a Dolch keyboard as he's going to make some prototypes soon. Which color do you want to have? Oh, that's we can discuss this in private, but I would lean towards whatever makes it look the most classic. I think like a nice gray would look fantastic with Dolch. Or black, I guess. But yeah, I think either like black or like a nice gray is what looks best on a Dolch keyboard. Dolch inspired keyboard after all. Dark gray? Yeah, dark gray. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the classic stuff. Like I know that if I got a Dolch keyboard, I would put Dolch on it because, well, it belongs there. And I also, you know, I did GMK Dolch R5, so I kind of feel like very strongly attached to it. So, yeah. Hey, Sandra, Super Switch, how are you? How have you been doing the past few days? I'm good, making strides on my yearly goal to watch all the Oscar nominees. Wow. Wait, yearly goal? So does this mean, how long have you been actually doing this in full completion? That's actually so remarkable, because I also sort of told myself something like that. I was like, oh, I am totally gonna watch all the, you know, the Academy Award nominees, and I'm gonna have a more solid footing on like how to, you know, like what predictions to make and whatever, but I never end up watching that many films. I end up watching some, maybe like a handful, but Yeah, not too many. And also not this. I have not followed this year so closely. I followed much more. I think like maybe like in college or a little like maybe like a little past that. So maybe like five years ago I was following much more closely. But nowadays I don't follow too closely. At least not the nomination process. I also obviously have a good deal of skepticism towards the Academy Awards. So just like I think a lot of people should, especially any people of color out there. But nonetheless, I'm sure that a lot of the nominations are worthy films to watch. No doubt. The Oscars are grossly biased? Yeah, no shit. Good day, sir. Is that a duck? It is a duck. Mr. Funzy, how are you? I've been avidly trying for at least 5 years, though. Whew. Well, I actually don't know. Does this year have fewer films, technically? Or 2020, rather? I'm actually curious, Sandra. Like, does 2020 have fewer films because of COVID? Like, do we technically have, like, much fewer films that were, released, even if it's digital? About the same? Oh, I guess the industry keeps moving forward, huh? Cause yeah, and I know a lot of things like release digitally and whatnot, so like kind of makes sense. And you know, a lot of films are also like planned years and years in advance, so I can see that. Remember when Green Book won instead of Black Klansman? Hey. I still don't understand what this Academy Award or Oscar stuff is. Oh, you know, movies. I'm good. Just rebuilt my duck. Oh, what do you rebuild, Mr. Funzy? What duck? What species of duck do you rebuild from the family of ducks? From the eclectic family of ducks, in the keyboard realm. What do you rebuild? Viper V1. Viper V1, that's a throwback. I had a black Viper V1 a long time ago. Well, actually not that long ago, but no, it was a long time ago. I mean, I got it like in 2017 or something like that, or 2018, and then like had it for a few years. It was good. It was great. It's like a really nice. It's a good tray board with good anodizing. I think the anodizing on it was really nice. Actually, it was like really smooth. And I rebuilt that. Rebuilt that with a poly car plate at the time, and it was great. Yeah, I used it for a while, but eventually sold it because I just stopped using it as much. But it was a nice board while I had it. Gap Browns though, that's nice. Nice smooth tactiles. There's 8 films nominated for Best Picture this year. That's a lot. That's a lot for Best Picture. I actually do wonder what's gonna win this year then. Actually, I can't even name all of these movies, so I probably should go and look them up and maybe watch a few. I have to be honest, this year I've really not followed film, like cinema. I love movies though. I love watching movies. I love following a bit and like seeing what's up, but like, yeah, not just for the Oscars, but just in general, I love going to the movies. Like, I go by myself a lot more when things are normal, but yeah, I guess, you know, I haven't been doing any of that, so. I'll send you the ballot. It's okay. I can look it up too. First custom from 2014, still got it. Oh, wait, you've had it for that long? That's quite a few years, man. 7 years? Phew. Well, I guess like 6.5 maybe? That's a long time. Whoa. Okay. Hold up. Was excited today because new episode of Attack on Titan comes out tomorrow, but remember it ended last week. That's how I felt when ReZero ended this past the past couple of weeks, you know, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Felt the same way. I was like, oh, it's Wednesday, today should be a new. Never mind. Never mind. A lot of the shows I liked ended, so I need to wait for next seasons. I actually just watch other shows instead. But yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Hadn't followed it closely at all because this year because who did TBH? Oh, I know, right? who would be following like pop culture sort of stuff in this current time? It's just hard, man. It's just really hard to do that. I've seen this new lube a couple times now. Where is it from and how well does it work? So the lube is actually a Krytox formulation. So the Krytox formulation is called XHT. It stands for extreme heat, basically. XHT, and then -BDZ. So it's basically extreme heat formulation, like BDZ is like whatever. I don't know what it stands for, but basically it's XHT dash BDZ, and it's a Krytox formulation, right? And currently, like, there's a few vendors in the US who have it, like Space Cables, SpaceHoldings.net has it. I think like Divinity and like a few other places do too. But basically, okay, so you know, like the Krytox 200 series. Okay, now just take that amount of viscosity and take it like maybe like crank it up like 2-3 notches. It's super viscous. So it works well in the sense that it pretty much is like toothpaste. Like it's almost like you're painting this thing. And it's like toothpaste, sort of like viscous. So basically it just stays on the wire. Like it's very, like, yes, it is dense, and yes, it is viscous and all, but because it is still like a grease formulation that's meant to be like for lubrication of these, like, you know, normally like they're in industrial systems, right? In like it has a good dynamic coefficient, so basically it doesn't like impede movement unless you over apply, right? But the point of it is that it sticks to the surface of wherever you apply it to really well, like in the case of the wire, right? And like a lot of the time people complain that they apply things to the wire and the lube displaces. So basically this formulation is good at preventing that, or rather it's like a way of going around the idea of like a displacing lubricant. And so like it works fairly well. Like I haven't experienced downsides as far as like sound or like inconveniences with it. The inconveniences with it for sure are like, if I had to name some things, is like, first of all, if it stains something, okay, like if it gets on anything that's like a cloth or like something that you don't want stained with this, okay, it won't come off easily. Like, just it won't come off, because it's just that like, you know, it just adheres to these like the surfaces so well. So yeah, it's hard for it to like wash off basically. So once you apply it, it kind of just stays there. So of course with that comes the caveat of, you know, if you do over apply it, it kind of is a bit of a drag. No pun intended. So yeah, it works so much better than dielectric greaser 205 on the wire. Yeah, so it's mostly used on the wire only. Yeah. This is Dragon Ball Z lube. Yeah. Has anyone watched Schneider's Cut Justice League? No, I have not. Definitely recommend The Trial of the Chicago 7 on Netflix. Oh, I'll check that out because I do have Netflix. Hola, ¿cómo estás? God enjoying from hello, how are you, my friend? Mi amigo, how are you? I hope you've been well, my friend. How's work? You've been going into work, right? So, how's work? I hope work's been well for ya. IMO, if these vendors are gonna start selling this lube, they should also start selling fluoro solvent to go with it. I do agree with that, Druas. I do agree with that part, actually. You know what? I'm gonna suggest this to Space Cables. I'm gonna suggest this to Space Cables. I'm gonna tell him to if he can actually supply some of the fluoro solvent stuff. So like to like wash things off or clean things off. Actually, that's a very good point for both safety reasons as well as for like convenience for when you do need it. So I'm gonna make it a point to suggest it. That'll be good. Cause I mean the providers, the manufacturers do also have fluoro solvents that are compatible with these, and so they know what to use, and they recommend it too. So yeah, we can probably work on that. Me good, work crazy. Oh gosh, it is a busy time for everybody though. I think like April, I think a lot of people are busy because like I mean on a normal year there's tax season, but for anybody in school, for example, there's exams. For anybody in like I think like just early in the year there's a lot of like things taking off, so there's just like a lot of deadlines and deliverables for a lot of people. What type of engineering do you study? I biomedical and electrical. Basically both. Biomedical / electrical. Every store should carry a fluorosolvent for Krytox in general too. I agree. I'm back and you aren't done? Yeah, I told you I wasn't gonna be done by the time you were back. I think I told you. I also talk a lot, so there's that. I get distracted. What's a small vial of lube? You did, but I believed in you. The small vial is called XHT-BDZ. It's this, I explained it earlier actually, but basically it's a super viscous formulation of Krytox that works well in the wire because it's super thick and so it sticks better to things, and if it sticks better to things, it tends to stay there by law of inertia essentially. But it's a lubricant, so it performs fine with movement. But basically it's a lube that sticks well to things, and people are using it because, well, it doesn't displace like it would with like 200 series or dielectric stuff. Essentially, that's kind of like the bottom line of it. This is the new optimal stab lube. Yeah, it's what people are calling it, like the new optimal stab lube. Yeah. That's basically what it is. I'm trying it out basically. I have done it on a few builds already, and it seems to be working okay so far. I just kind of alternate between things just to see if like the marginal differences are substantial. I will have to be honest with you guys. I got used to applying other lubricants that I at this point kind of like know that I can apply a lubricant a certain way and it'll work the same way. So in other words, I don't feel personally, okay, because I don't have this much lube, I don't think I need to buy this, because I just have a lot of this and I want to use this first, instead of having to buy more of a different product every single time there's a different product that comes out. So, but that's because I work fine with 205, for example. Yes, technique and method will achieve the same thing. So Sifo, I guess this is what I should say. You should stick with the same thing if you're confident that you're consistent and you're not bothered by any time things have to be retouched. I personally don't get mad when I have to retouch things because I have to do it anyway. Like, I do it all the time anyway. So I personally don't get bothered, but some people do. They're like, oh my god, I looped this one time and now I have to go back and mess around with it because it like makes like a teeny tiny ticking noise when I press on the, at the very end of it at a certain angle or whatever. So if you're bothered by that kind of stuff, then yeah, you should definitely get the new stuff and try it out and see how it goes and all that good stuff, right? But if not, then I don't think if you're confident in your stab lubing abilities, then you don't have to. You're not required to. I'm in this comment and I don't like it. I apologize, but it's true. I mean, there's some people who are like this. What tea am I drinking though? I'm drinking. It's basically green tea. It's like iced green tea, basically. It's basically iced green tea. All right. Yum, I should go make some. Green tea never lost. Yeah, green tea's so good. And also, I kind of was craving something cold today for some reason. Like, even though it's kind of been colder, like in like overall, like it's felt a little colder today. I kind of felt I was craving something like a cold drink. I actually do that. I actually crave like ice cream, like when it's like freezing, for some reason. Like I don't crave like I don't need like a hot chocolate. Like hot chocolate and that kind of stuff is like nice, right? But I actually crave like ice cream. Like I love ice cream in the cold. April's gonna be the month where I do all my keyword backlog. Sifo's backlog is because he probably just doesn't do it when he has it anyway. It's not because he says that there's a backlog, but it's a backlog because he didn't do it before when he could. I love ice cream in the cold too. Yeah, dude, it's bomb. I know, you Sifo. I know exactly how it is. Cause you know why I know? Cause I'm like that too. I'm like, oh, I totally have time to do this today, but I'm gonna just go watch this show. Or I'm gonna do it when I have it all piled up and have like 20 different things to do. But yeah, I'm gonna decide to do it then instead. Stab ticking drives me crazy. Yeah, I know it bothers some people like a lot. I mean, it bothers me too, but I don't mind like just taking off the keycap and touching it up a little bit. Normally though, I do have to say that as a builder, right, as someone who like builds keyboards frequently, I do have to say like stab lubing is a skill of consistency, in the sense that you wanna know where the sweet spot of when things kind of like generally work well is, and then from there, like whenever I touch up things again, when like maybe like a stab is ticking slightly, right, and all I have to do is apply some lube from the back of the stabilizer part. Like I basically like take off the keycap, like in this case let's say that it's a spacebar stab, right, on the right side. I just take off the spacebar, and on the right side I like pull the insert up and I just apply some lube, right? Like you do have to, like you should have lubed the first time decently well for you to able to do that and still get good results. Because if you under lubed, let's say like your stabilizer, like if your stabilizer is not lubed properly and you try to like kind of like basically apply a little bit of lube from like the backside of the stab, it actually doesn't work. It's just not enough. Like, it just won't cut it. So you do have to have a certain level of consistency in how you like lube your stabs, and like a certain amount of lube that should be in there for you to like not experience those problems and not have to desolder them fully. There's just times when I like, or like a long time ago, I remember like my older builds, I definitely didn't do a great job of the stabilizers, and like eventually they kind of like started ticking and all that, like rattling, right? And like it was impossible to fix it without rebuilding. So I just had to rebuild. So I had to desolder everything up, either replace or re-lube the entire stabs, like like wipe them off and touch them up again and do the whole thing all over again. Which sucks. It's just work. But yeah, I learned the other day. Let's see. Okay, so before that, something about my brain on iced coffee. Ooh, yes, I love iced coffee. Love. Favorite ice cream? I'll name two. My two favorite ice creams are mint chocolate and coffee. If I had to name a third, maybe it's matcha if it's good. Meaning that a good matcha flavored ice cream needs to have a strong matcha flavor, a strong tea flavor. It can't be too sweet, and it can't be too watered down. Basically, that's my caveat for any tea flavored stuff. Actually, even boba is the same. Too sweet, too watered down, no good. Too much half and half, no good. It has to have a strong tea flavor to it. Matcha ice cream shouldn't really be sweet. It shouldn't be sweet at all. Like, I mean, like, well, just generally should not be sweet. Like, you shouldn't be tasting sweet that much. It should just taste like green tea, you know? It should just taste like matcha. But yeah, there's a lot of places that just don't do it right, so I tend to not pick it. Unless, like, someone says, like, oh, it's really good, and then I'm like, okay, let me try it, and then, like, I try it, and sometimes I'm, like, disappointed by it, but sometimes it's okay. Matcha's so good, a little bitter, yeah. I tried to like matcha, but I just don't see it. Yeah, I mean, again, you know. Do you mean don't see it as in like don't see it around you, or don't see it as in don't see it happening? Because there are two different things there. I don't like sweet matcha. No, it should not be sweet. Real matcha is not sweet, like, at all. Like, it should not be. But wow, listen to the party upstairs. Goodness. Wait, why is this doing this? Okay, there. Saturday party night. Upstairs. And the kids are running around, and later I'll probably hear like this kid screaming and bouncing balls and shit. I don't see the appeal yet. I just had crappy crappy matcha. Yeah. I think it's hard to come across a good matcha ice cream, to be honest with you. It's actually not too easy. It's the same thing with red bean. Like, I'm not sure if people have suggested that to you, red bean, like flavored stuff and like desserts, and like it also doesn't taste great oftentimes. The best ones are expensive AF. Yeah, good matcha. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a premium there. Red bean I like. Oh, I mean, red bean tends to be sweeter too, so maybe I think things that can rely on sweetness as the basis of their flavor are much easier to get right? So it's just, you know. But yeah, ice cream. Now I want some ice cream. I don't think I have any ice cream in my fridge though. which is pretty sad. I should get some. I should get some ice cream. Yeah. I've tried matcha mochi. It was pretty good, but didn't seem right. Even though it says it was imported, I feel like it being fresh. Oh yeah, mochi is there's an art to mochi. I feel there's the good the ones that they say like frozen and like they're like you like eat them sort like somewhat cold. Like it's okay, but yeah, it's not great. It's not amazing. It's okay though. But yeah, fresh mochi is like delicious. If you can ever try it fresh, that is relatively fresh. It kind of applies to all these like rice made things actually, like not just mochi, but there's like other rice cakes and stuff. Where's my keycaps? Here it is. Raise a glass of the ruined ice cream in my fridge because it died last week. Wait, your fridge died last week? Yeah, your fridge died last week. Okay, now we have outside cars passing by with music on or whatever. Anyway, I'll raise my Rontas glass here, or cup mug, to that fridge. Fridge Chan, rip, indeed. Oh, I think they meant, yeah, I think they meant ice cream in the freezer in the refrigerator, you know? Like, it's a refrigerator with also a freezer. New York streets, yeah, I know, right? Especially like on a Saturday, New York City. Ho ho! It's always it's bumpy. It's always stuff going on all the time. It's kind of fun, to be honest. I live in a very lively neighborhood, and like honestly, like as long as it doesn't like obstruct my sleep, you know, like disrupt my sleep terribly, it's okay. Which fortunately doesn't happen as like much. Sometimes the upstairs neighbors can get a bit like crazy with their karaoke at like 2 a.m. thing, but we've complained a few times and they kind of stopped doing that late at night. I swear I can hear people talking because there was someone talking earlier. So you weren't imagining things just earlier. Sounds like a keyboard. Hello, Mr. Viper, you coming back when it sounds like a keyboard? That's even more surprising. When you come back to the stream, even though you know it's just gonna sound like a keyboard. What's the keyboard in the background? The HHKB 1800. It's called a Duck Blackbird. It was actually one of the first few boards that kind of did this layout. Actually, I think the Blackbird might have been the first to do it like this. Like, not the HKB style, but even the regular one that has no blockers. It was kind of unique when it first came out. I remember. Yep, keyboard. Yeah. Still sad I don't get to visit this year. Yeah, dude. I'm pretty bummed out about that too. I mean, I actually like. There are like other people that were going to visit New York and whatnot, and that was gonna be exciting. I think I remember like was talking to Mr. Oblotsky a while ago, and he kind of said the same thing. You know, like he was also planning on visiting, and we we're gonna show him around and whatnot. And yeah, it didn't work out, unfortunately. But here we are. I like a bit of background noise at night. I kind of get freaked out when it's too quiet. Yeah. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind a little background noise. I actually just have like, I usually just run a fan or like a light fan, like on you know, if there's like 3 power levels, I just put it on like 1 because it's like kind of like white noise. But yeah. I either do that or I sometimes like use my phone and put like rain sounds or whatever. City noise at night though is, yeah, it's kind of like what I normally just sleep to. So see, I'm missing my brother so much. I usually get to see him at least once a year. Yeah, same here. I haven't seen my family in a while now. So yeah, I would love to see my family, like my relatives, like at least my brothers and my parents again sometime soon. But again, I'm waiting till all of them are vaccinated, and all obviously when not just travel things to kind of like get better, but just like the situation in general. I would hate to travel like when people kind of like are like feeling too free to travel and it gets all crazy. I want to avoid that period of time, but yeah. I grew up in a really bad neighborhood in Brooklyn. Fond memories though. Miss New York. Yeah, New York is a bit of it's an interesting place. You can hate it for sure. It's not hard to hate, but it's also not hard to. It's also like kind of difficult to completely dislike. I feel like, I mean, like, I don't know. There's like there's a charm to New York that's pretty unique to the place here. I think, especially because it does vary a lot by neighborhood, right? Every neighborhood has its own kind of like vibe to it, but New York City as a whole also has its own like this like feeling to it that's pretty unique to the city. And I say that having lived in like a lot of different places, I just don't think there's a place with the vibe of New York City. Like there's just nowhere else in the world that I kind of feel the same way. And it's not like, it's both a good and a bad thing, you know. It's like pros and cons to it. Oh shit. Put that pen. Speaking of rain sounds, my desktop wallpaper is a rain environment with rain sounds. Do you have like rain meter on? Is it implemented with rain meter, or how do you do it? I'm also really close to my aunts, and three of them live in New York, so going every year is like a little family reunion. Oh, cool. Well, if you do visit New York sometime and I'm still here, you should totally let me know, and we should catch like coffee or a meal or something, because that would be great. New York City, your favorite place to live? I definitely have been really liking it so far. So a lot of people actually say the same thing as you do, Peaches, where they say like, oh, like I would love to visit New York, and it's only a place that I would visit but never live in. I thought actually the same way before I started living here. I did live in a bigger city beforehand too, and in smaller towns and cities too, and I see the appeal of both kinds of places. Like I see the peace of being in a smaller town, but I still really like New York. Like I think it's just so unique. It's just kind of like once you live here, it's a very different experience from visiting. Like it's not the same. It's not the same like idea of like it's not all hectic. It's not all overcrowded. Like once you live here, you find your spots, and you know what, like you know where to avoid, and like you know where the tourists are gonna be. You actually don't really end up in those places that often once you start living here, because not just because you actively avoid them, but because there actually is just so much everywhere else. So much to see around, and so many things to do in other places that you don't even need to be in the place where it's crowded. So in a way, its own neighborhood it's like its own little town almost, which is the coolest part of New York. I think it's like the sirens never stop. So I actually don't have as many sirens in my part of town, even though the sirens never stop if you live in like mid, like kind of like Empire State, like K-Town, Empire State area, and then down from there. So like maybe like 30, like 5th Street, and then down is pretty heavy with sirens until you reach like Fide-Eye. So yeah. And then like Brooklyn downtown, of course, like there's also like pretty heavy on sirens, because there's like the Barclays Center and whatnot. New York has gotten a lot safer in the last two decades, to say the least. Yeah. New York has gotten very much a lot safer from what I've heard from people who have lived here for many, many years. Like when I was in med school, basically, one of my like clinical like mentors, she like basically moved to the US and New York like in the like mid 80s, no, like late 80s, and then like in the early 90s basically there were curfews even for like doctors and stuff, basically because they're like, it's just too dangerous to be outside after like 9:30 p.m. like you might actually like, you know, get hurt, like, you know, someone might assault you, or, you know, like it's just not very safe, and like it depends on the neighborhood too, right? So yeah, there was a time when it was not very safe in New York in certain parts of the city. It's definitely not like that at all anymore though. Like it's very, very safe to walk around at night, and I mean like relatively, and yeah, it's just like gotten a lot better since then. But yeah, let's see, lots of part of Brooklyn that were bad when I lived there are so different today. Yeah, Williamsburg, Bushwick, and Betts, yeah, completely different. Yeah, I mean very gentrified too now, especially like a lot of Brooklyn. That's yeah, that's just kind of like the way it's kind of moved. This app called Lively Wallpaper. I see. Trying to move to New York City when I get my BA. Oh, cool. Hadn't been for COVID, I would have loved the New York meetup last year. Yeah, that's good. I don't miss New York City. That's all right. There are good job opportunities. Depends what industry you're working. There are good opportunities if you're working finance. Finance, pretty good for finance, but some people do burn out pretty quickly here too though. Like if you're like in investment banking, you can burn out from it because the culture can be a bit crazy. But there's definitely there's growing tech in the city now. Like there's definitely growing tech. I mean, like Google and Facebook are here, and a lot of digital marketing agencies are here too. There's a lot of stuff going on in that area. There's some biotech going on here too now. It's definitely changing a bit, and if you're into like the sciences, like into STEM, and the arts, there's a lot of people who do move for like music or theater, acting, that kind of stuff, film. Rent is expensive. Yeah, I mean that's always true of any big city. I would hate living in New York City and I could never sleep. I understand. Let's see. New York City is such a dense city and I love it. Yeah, I really like it. I live across from a police station. My brother used to live smack dab in the middle of Hell's Kitchen, the part of town that rarely got quiet. Oh yeah, Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, there's so much around there. Subway has gotten so much nicer. Yeah. You're a doctor? I'm not. I used to be in med school though. I'm not in med school anymore. I used to be in med school though. My annual visits, I usually stay in Hell's Kitchen. I think visiting is fine. Visiting is okay. What's that keyboard that's already built? That's a Duck Blackbird. You get robbed 100% after midnight in the 80s. Yeah. I never celebrated Halloween. I was in Brooklyn around the same time. Gang initiation time. Wow. Like anywhere, be aware of your surroundings and stay alert. Yeah. Sorry, just catching up. And I read what you said, Chillgam. Lively wallpaper can make YouTube videos into wallpapers. That's pretty cool. Thinking journalism and writing. There is actually a bit of journalism writing here. I mean, there are a few good journalism schools in New York, if you're interested in that. And I mean, the Times, like New York Times is here, and there's a few other places that you can work in journalism that are like, actually like all the big studios are here too. So if you're into journalism, you could probably work in that area. I mean, there's a lot of people who are journalists who work in the city. I mean, that's just kind of like the way it goes in such a city. Like this one, I would say there are opportunities, but you would have to seek them for sure. There's a pretty strong crypto company growth in New York City too. I didn't know that. International fashion, yeah, that too. Bean time, okay, bye. Doesn't advertising have a pretty big presence in the city as well? Yeah, digital marketing and advertising is huge in New York City right now. Huge. I have so many friends who are in that like scene. Fintech, yeah. The city's always right and does nothing wrong. True. Spotify has a huge office in New York. I actually have not been to Spotify. I've been to Google, checked out Facebook, and a few other Dropbox and a few other places, but not Spotify. Yeah, Google New York City is pretty cool, though. I mean, it's very different compared to like Bay Area stuff, of course, but it's still pretty nice. Google and Facebook. I mean, yeah, mega corps at this point. So different vibe. Hey, Tony, what's up, dude? How you doing? All right, we're done with switches, I think. All right, let's fire up the soldering iron. And let's get this going. Mr. Cajun? Tony Tony Cajun. I see. I didn't get it at first, but now I get it. That's hilarious. Tony Cajun, spicy boy. The spicy ramen. Is that a new style? You have shoyu, you have miso, you have whatever, and then you have Cajun style ramen. Just kidding, just kidding. That's a true fusion. I hate it here. Oh man, that's hilarious. Oh man, people come up with the funniest shit. Let me get some Cajun fries. Yeah, so when's the burger joint, man? when's the chicken and the burger joint? Oh man, all right. It's not even Twitch chat, dude. It's just the people in this community are pretty hilarious too. They're pretty also like I think the audience is also pretty like self-encompassing. Like a lot of the same people show up too, so like everyone kind of knows each other, which makes for a lot of fun in chat, I think. Yeah. Anyway, let's get this started. Hold on, let me just check something though. What's up with this? Oh wait, what the? Oh, I realized I had unplugged this. No wonder. All right, let's see. So let me just check this here. I think that's mostly what drew me to keyboard streams in the first place. You mean like the community being kind of not small, but sort of like self-sustaining or something like that. Top Clack used to be my haven. I mean, Top Clack was kind of the start of it all in a way. They were kind of the beginning of people on Twitch from keyboards. Top Clack, and then like there are a few early people like Anthony001, and then eventually like Nathan and Chubbies, and I Am Me, You Are You was also early there. Yeah, there were a few people in the Twitch community early on though. But Top Clack was definitely one of the starters, or maybe the starters for Twitch and keyboards. Alright, so let me just check something really quick. Alright. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so apologies for the fan noise as usual, but just another necessity for safety reasons. But We're currently soldering some Durock POM linears for those who haven't read the build command on this alu plate and C3 PCB. There's a fan, not bad. Yeah, I think it's okay after if I turn the mic a little this way, it's also a little better, I think. Yeah, people have told me it's not as bad. I would think it's a bit worse because I obviously hear it like pretty close, but yeah. Man of Interest, I mean, you know, Man of Interest, Huey was part of Top Flag, as you know, and Top Flag eventually had Jay come in, Politary, and Man of Interest Huey left, and things sort of changed for them. But yeah, a lot of early Twitch people. I'm a bit disappointed that the keyboard Twitch community is a bit segregated from the greater Twitch community at large. Yeah, you're not wrong at all. You're totally right. I think the reason is because we don't make bigger efforts to integrate with the bigger Twitch community. Specifically, I think it would feel a lot more integrated if there were also people in keyboards who were already well acquainted with the bigger Twitch community in general, but I think a lot of people actually don't know Twitch that well. People actually don't know Twitch that well. Like, I actually don't know much about Twitch culture / community. I actually don't really engage, like I don't have a lot of interest in a lot of them because I just don't spend time on Twitch nearly enough to like feel acquainted or related to them. And I know a lot of, like, I know of the people, like personalities, but just by name and nothing else. I think the only person that kind of like has a bit more of that might be like Tiny and like maybe like Nathan and Minterly and maybe like a few other people out there, right? Like that kind of know the Twitch community at large a lot more. And there's actually been some people who are kind of bleeding in from the larger Twitch community into keyboards, so there's that. And so, you know, nothing wrong with it, but it's slowly kind of changing. You don't want to be part of that excessive toxic place. I mean, yeah, I definitely think it's pretty crazy out there. XQC's chat's terrible. I mean, that's also XQC we're talking about. I'm not sure if XQC is also like... I mean, mega size like chats are a whole different beast because it's not about even the streamer. It's actually just that it attracts such a large audience that the probability of you encountering shitty people is very high. And even if it's just a few shitty people, it's enough to sour up the entire conversation. So, yeah. I personally don't feel very, I really don't feel engaged in any bigger chats. Because do you guys find big Twitch chat fun at all? Because I personally go into like a bigger channel and I feel like it's just like spam. I literally just feel like it's just letters. I'm just like, this is so boring. Like, I'm just like, it's just emotes and spamming random shit that maybe is coherent with what the streamer is saying sometimes, but like 99% of the time I'm just like, they're on 2 different wavelengths. No, not even. They're on like 100 different wavelengths, and no one seems to be talking to anybody. I see him in big chats and streamer chats, but yeah, I know Soren is well acquainted with a lot of people in Twitch, or like a lot of people like in the bigger streamer community. But yeah, definitely, the reason why I like this keyboard stream is because I get to talk to the streamer directly without my message being lost. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Sandra is right. Like, you know, making a point to give a follow to any keyboard streamers I come across. Don't venture outside the community much. That's how I feel about it too, though. Yeah. Nathan has a taste of it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I would love to sort of like getting acquainted with people outside, but I don't want the culture of big Twitch chat to be like the defining element of it. Like, it kind of feels like it feels depersonalized, TBH. It just feels very... I take it personally when my messages aren't read out loud. Hint! Hint! Sorry, was that too loud? One of my favorite things about the keyboard streaming community is that it's still quite intimate. Yeah, that's what I like about it. TBH. Yeah, that's what I like about it. Anyway, I'm gonna go and get started with the sponsor segment shortly. Just gonna run through the group buys we're currently running. Some of them haven't changed because we haven't seen the turn of the page for some of the vendors, but some of them have already started their new group buys, so I'm just gonna mention some of those as well. So let's just quickly gloss over them. Do exclamation sponsors, right, for all of our vendors and sponsors who support this channel. Feels like you get to be a part of a proper community. I agree. Getting message ignored, that's my streamer. Part of that like viewer streamer relationship is you need to be ignored once and then acknowledged once and so on and so forth. But I mean, I really find it, I appreciate it so much when a viewer sort of recognizes that they are not being ignored, but rather just circumstantially their message was not seen, you know? Like, I genuinely want to read every single message or mention every single message / talk about it, but as you can see, I go out of order all the time. So yeah, but you know. Anyway, so let's first start with Canon keys. Canon keys right now we have GMK Fuji still on group buy. We have desk mats for it. We have ePBT Aesthetic. Has a gorgeous desk mat actually. I just recently checked it out and it looks really cool. Has this cool like just like a cherry blossom tree and like this like bench, and there's this like girl on it, like sitting on it, and there's like a city landscape behind and whatnot. It's kind of cute. And then there's like some in-stock products. They have the dark amber T1 switches. We have PVT Honeywell Bold. We have a bunch of different switches and lube as well, and stabilizers, as well as PCBs, and sometimes we have the instant and practice series of Canon keys kits for those who are beginners to keyboards. It's a good way to get started. So yeah, check those out for now. So that should cover most of Canon keys at the time. Next up, ePBT Arizona Iced Tea. Oh boy, this guy. I don't disagree, you know, partially. Then we have Mint Autumn Jack Static, who is who works on the Rukia Round 2 group buy right now. He's currently still in the production process. He actually recently did some sales to cover a large electric bill that he said he had, but more importantly, he's working on injection molding equipment for polyethylene material cases. So keyboards made out of polyethylene plastic. And he is also working on doing polycarb cases. So you'll see machined polycarb cases like the Rukia. And yeah, he's making progress. So he appreciates all of y'all's patience and support. But yeah, go ahead and check out mintautumn.com if you want to see more details about their projects. Next up we have
Novel Keys. On Novel Keys, you can get 5% off for all in-stock items using the promo code Thunder. Some cool items in stock right now are PBT Notion by BIP. Occasionally there's extras from like the NK65 series, the drops that happen. We also have stabilizers and a bunch of different switches. We also have Gatoron, the plushie mascot of Novel Keys, and we also have one such sample of Gatoron right behind next to JD, keeping close and friendly company. And on Group Buy right now on Novel Keys, we also have now GMK Metropolis. Round 2 is now open. GMK Metropolis now features a colorful set as well as the uniform Midnight set, and there's full base kit versions of it. We also have mod kits now in full Metropolis fashion, which is the Metropolis novelty-like icons, but now for the full modifier kit as well. So that's available if you were interested in that in R1, but it finally came into R2. We have the M6C RamaWorks macro pack collaboration with GMK Metropolis, so check that out. Pretty cool, actually. It features a silicone base. Wow, upstairs people. Wow, partying it up. We also have SA Tatooine on pre-order, Star Wars collaboration with Novel Keys. And just so you don't forget, we only have about 3 days for GMK Striker Round 2. So, if you have not picked up GMK Striker Round 2, you only have basically this weekend and maybe on Monday to pick it up. So, you should think about it and pick it up if you don't want to miss out. And soon, we will soon have the Salvation keyboard by Wilbatech and Salvin on Novel Keys as the North American proxy for the boards as well. It just hasn't opened on Novel Keys just yet, but it will be coming soon. I will be posting that link to my Discord channel that has all the news regarding sponsors once that is opened up. Taco Game, hello, how are you doing? Instant Cop I bought both. Awesome. And next up, we have Omnitype. On Omnitype, right now we have GMK Blurple. You can head on over to omnitype.com/lightning. So GMK Blurple is a set by Phantom Taco. Keyboard community member. I think they're primarily active in the Art Key server as well as the Top Clack server. But yeah, GMK Blurple, kind of a neat set. It's kind of like, it's very subtle. I don't know how to describe it. It's like sort of like blue-gray and tones of light blue, lilac-ish vibe for the modifiers. Has original style icon mods. So if you're interested in that set, check it out. I think it looks pretty neat. I'm not sure if I will get it myself just yet. It's a bit too early to decide that. But I think it looks pretty cool. So check that out on omnitype.com/lightning. There's a very cute Rama cap actually for it. So make sure to check that out as well. And yeah, more news on other group buys. Just make sure to check the Omnitype website. There's desk pads commonly restocked. Very regularly restocked on omnitype.com, so check those out if you are on the lookout for more desk pads for your desk and other surfaces. And next up, we have Prime Keyboards. Over on Prime Keyboards, we have a variety of switches, and we have stabilizers, the Durock stabilizers, that like the ones I'm using today. We also have, from the switches, we have alpacas and silent alpacas. We have the Cobalt POM linears, which are basically the production version of the switches I'm using today. So the switches I'm using today have Deskeys films with them, but the Cobalt POM linears actually don't require films because I tested it and they seem to perform perfectly fine without films. And in fact, when I applied a switch film to them, they actually kind of like became like tactile because basically the housing was already pretty tight. And so that means that there really isn't any wobble for the housing. And I personally would suggest just going without switch films if you're getting any POM linears. I've tried those on a previous build for the KSE that I built previously, and it went well and they sound pretty nice. They're extremely smooth as well, so I would recommend them if you're into the market for some POM made switches. They also have Krytox 205 grade 0 and other accessories that you should check out on primekb.com/lightning. Overhead cam frozen? Oh, I didn't realize. Let me check. Overhead cam frozen. Hold up. I'll reset that shortly. Hey. Alright, we back. Thank you for the... I thought you had really steady hands. Thank you for the warning. Next up we have GMK Astrolight over at projectkeyboard.com. So go ahead and check out projectkeyboard.com for GMK Astrolight. Very subtle looking set. That's currently on Project Keyboard. We also have the Sirius keyboard on Project Keyboard now, which is the... Whoa. Okay, what's going on here? Wait, what the... Oh. So we have the Sirius keyboard. If you haven't seen the Sirius, it was initially released as an all POM keyboard. This time it also comes in polycarbonate. So go and check that out if you're curious. It's on projectkeyboard.com. We also have DCS Delftware. DCS Delftware is also on Group Buy. So DCS Delftware is a very interesting looking set. It's a DCS set. It's inspired by basically like a variety of like ceramic art from the city of Delft. And it basically features these white and blue combination of colors and very interesting set of sub-legends, basically inspired by that art. I suggest checking it out because it's very unique. I personally think it's one of the most unique sets that are currently on Group Buy and probably one of the better, like more unique and more original ideas that I've seen in recent Group Buys. So I highly suggest just checking that out for if you're curious. So yeah, DCS Delftware. Next up we have Salvin, and as I said, on salvin.com we have the Wilbitech Salvation now available for pre-order. Salvin is an EU vendor for the Salvation, but if you are waiting for the North American vendor, Novelkeys will be one, and then there's other regions listed on their website as well, so you can go and check out salvin.com. Salvin also has the Wilbitech PCBs, the Graphite edition as well as the Weird Flex edition, and we also have Salvin apparel available on the website, and then on the rest of the website you'll have all the different collaborations listed on there. Wish the Salvation was in HHKB? Well, you can't do that because it's a tray case. You could do it if you do it like the Duck Viper V1, which is basically this case that has a blocker like... Oh, I think I forgot this up arrow. But yeah, it's a tray, so it can't have blockers like that. Similar to the Unicorn, let's say. So it's a tray case. Yeah, I think I forgot this up arrow key. So Salvation hype indeed. If you ask like Alex or Apiary, who have both built a Salvation, you will get answers such as, I love this board, it's fantastic, there's typing tests out there already that you can listen to. I might be also getting a unit soon for us to check out, and I'll of course provide my own thoughts about it, and I personally expect it to be pretty cool because it just looks really interesting. The whole rubber and leaf spring system looks so cool. And I don't know, I'm excited to try it out personally. I think it's just another one of those things that is, if DCS Delftware is one of the most unique things out there in key sets, I think Salvation is probably one of the most unique things out there in keyboards right now. So yeah, so just checking it out if you're into something new. But then again, the idea of tray mounts being changed has been around for a long time, and I really like that we're seeing execution in this area finally. It's something that it's like an idea that I floated with other people too, and I'm pretty excited to see that actually happening. All right, so I actually soldered this now, so let's just make sure that it works. Okay, up arrow works. Cool. So let's now assemble this guy. So our case here is a traditional top mount case. So we have a lot of mounting points actually. Oh, I do need the screws for this. Let me just find those. I believe the button screws here are the ones that I need. But yeah, would the PCB have to be custom cut? No. So what's unique about the Salvation, or rather, what makes it less unique / basically more compatible is what I should say. What makes it more compatible with other things is that it basically has a left side USB cutout, just like in many tray 60% cases, which means that you can use any 60% PCB and any 60% plate that has that, that is normally used for tray mounted cases like that. So you can use any combination of PCBs and plates. What's unique about it is that the tray itself has these leaf spring mechanism levers or whatever you want to call it that make it feel different when you put the assembly in there. So yeah, you can basically consider the Salvation to be like the big upgrade of the traditional poker tray. That's basically what I could describe it as, and it's like a new take on it. So that's why there's a bit of a buzz around it, is because it's not like trays were unknown. Trays have been around for a long time. Tofus are basically trays, right? But basically we now have something that is like a different take on it, like a new look, new perspective on it. So yeah, new implementation. A step up from Tofu. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting and big step from Tofu, and I think it'll be good to kind of see it out there and see how people like it. And it's in a way it's kind of like it's kind of showing what the keyword community is steering its interest towards right now. So yeah. Good old reliable top mount indeed. Alright, so So yeah, that's on currently on, I keep forgetting this keyboard's unplugged and I forget. But yeah, that's on salvin.com right now. On spaceholdings.net right now, so that's Space Cables, that's the last vendor we're going to be talking about. We have a bunch of different cable collaborations, right? And I believe Yura made an announcement not long ago that she'll be having one of her desk mat designs on Space Cables or spaceholdings.net very soon, next week, I believe. So please consider supporting her work. She showed some of her designs on the previous stream that she did, I believe, or 2 streams ago. So if you're curious, go check out Rgb Pcb. She's also on Twitch, and she's shown some of the designs. Wait a sec. Short screws and long screws. Okay, so short screws down here, long screws in the back. All right. So currently on Space Cables or spaceholdings.net, we have GMK Nightshade. Today is the last day for GMK Nightshade, so check that out. There's also a few desk pad designs available for sale in stock. Lightning, any word when Space Cables is going to put a board out? Actually, yes. Yeah, so they do have a new board coming out as a collaboration. I will be building it actually. So yeah, pretty soon actually. They pretty much are just preparing things at this point. Wait, how is this screw kind of like? Is this a long screw? I'm so confused by the length of these screws. They're like almost the same. Did I put a long screw in a... Huh? Wait. Oh, I see. Never mind. Okay, never mind. It's just on these two. Is it a stack acrylic or something? Yes, it's called a Stellar. It's going to be it's a 65%, and it is indeed it's made out of acrylic. I actually have the case here, but I'll show it to you guys later. Here is Grace, such a talented designer and artist. I'm really loving her Instagram. I'm really glad that she made one, because she's so skilled. You can tell that she's really worked hard to practice, and like she's really good at what she does. It's great. But yeah, she's gonna have a desk mat out soon on Space Cables, so check that out. And yeah, more stuff on Space Cables soon. We're still kind of just waiting for things to turn around for the new month. I guess this week, pretty much you'll start seeing all the new buys popping up left and right. Alright, great. Do you know if it's solder only? That's a good question. I think it... I don't have the answer to this actually. Let me just double check. Might have been told. Let's see. Acrylic. Yeah. I think it is solderable only, but is it? Well, I have a link to a tweet here that's relevant to it. Stellar. And there's also a picture of it. Here. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Stellar 65. Alright. I think we're good. Alright, so what key set are we gonna put on this boy? Alex knife? Yeah, that's an Alex photo. That's totally an Alex photo. Because you could recognize that anywhere, right? It's a very distinct style. Those headphones don't look cheap. Yeah, Alex doesn't skimp on his audio. Alex goes hard on everything he does. Alright, so what are we gonna put on this bad boy here? I forget how I decided to program it. Okay, I can just turn off the RGB because I don't need it. Alright, so let's see what sets I have. I don't have GMK Firefly. Nope. So let me list them out. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have any other sets that I'm not including in this list, but hold up. Give me 1 sec. Be boring striker. True, that could be an easy cop out. Not really a cop out. It's just blue and white. So yeah. So I have some sets there listed on the left here on the screen. If you look at the screen right now, I also do have Hydro. Handerbite? No Handerbite. We're not doing Handerbite today. I will veto Handerbite today because it's gonna look like ass. Reject. Refund at your points. Boom. Yeah, I'm not feeling like doing Handerbite today, so I'm gonna veto Handerbite today. Muted, yeah. Muted, okay. Oh yeah, Handerbite has its own points cost too, so technically you can't do that. Muted would actually look okay with the blue modifiers, I think, with the blue accent, right? Space Cables, thank you so much for the 2 months, man. How you doing? CRP is a good option, yes. So wait, did I list Hydro there? I did not, but oh no, it is there. Hydro's there too, though. So we have Hydro, we have Triumph Ailer, we have Hyperfuse, Muted, Skeletor, blue on white. I actually don't think I even put blue on white, but I have blue on white. Blue on white is basically classic blue. It's basically classic blue. It's actually the original classic blue set. CRP Arabic. Do you have Blue Alert or Olivetti? I don't, which is a bummer. I've been looking for a set of Blue Alert, but I haven't gotten one yet. So there's that. I've been looking for a Blue Alert though. Muted? Okay, we can do muted. Muted or minimal? Either or. Why don't we do a vote? I'll type on these stems. Slash poll. Make Blue Alert a reality. Oh, I could do that too at some point, huh? Let's see. What key set? Oh damn, I typed it wrong. Key set. We have Hydro. Okay. Hydro. We have minimal. We have muted. Am I missing any? Hold up. Let me check chat. CRP. I'll just say CR like beige. And let me go. Let me look. Eclipse is a good option too. Eclipse is kind of cool. Eclipse is actually a very cool option. Very, very cool option. Eclipse. Wait, do you have accents for either? For either what? Sorry. And I do have Eclipse. Okay, those 5 are good. Minimal or muted? Yeah, I do have accents. Alright. So I'm not gonna allow additional votes this time. You can do a 2-minute poll. Alright, there's 5 key sets on poll today, so y'all can take a pick. Beige is kind of generic. It could be Xerox or CRP stuff. in general, or 909 also if you wanted that. Like I have RGB mods too if you like Desco maybe. I could do Desco too, like original Desco is also available for beige if you want it. But it's that family. The family of beige stuff is beige, okay? So just pick that if you're feeling that. Muted with Mr. Sleeves? That's a doable. Yeah, oh, I do have Mr. Sleeves and muted, so we can do that. Olivetti and Blue Alert would look very nice on this navy color for sure. But I don't have neither set. I used to have Olivetti, but I sold it. I used to have Blue Alert, and I also sold it. I'm an idiot for selling them, and I regret it. But I mean, it just happened that way. I used to have them though. I used to have both. I used to have both True Olivetti and Blue Alert, but I had to end up selling them. I don't know why. I think I just needed money, so I just sold them. So yeah, that's actually tragic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it goes, you know. You sometimes don't know what you have, and yeah. All right, looks like muted's gonna be it. I do have a lot of other sets too, so it's like, yeah. At the time though, I had fewer sets at that time when I had those. So it's kind of how I went about it. All right, so muted. Okay, muted. All right, I have it right here. So the question is, we have regular muted here, and we have, let me get the accent kits. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back, okay? I need to go and look for him really quick. Alright. I like how it was dead even for a second. What was that for a second? Throwback when you couldn't eat GMK trays. Tragic, huh? So tragic. Alright, so we have muted accents. And we have... oh. And we also have Mr. Sleeves accents. The votes. Oh, I see. Naughty Penguin, hello there. How are you? So we have two different types of accents. So actually, the muted accents are pretty close. Actually, well, they're a little bit more blue-greenish slightly. I mean, like, I can show you. Blue versus... I see a Gatoron. Yeah, right there. So, this is Mr. Sleeves. I'm getting confused already. So, wait. So we have, oh my god, Mr. Sleeves on the left and muted accent on the right. But yeah. They're kind of close though. And there's also the purple accents too from muted. They're kind of a more lilac-y color. The only thing about the lilac color is that it only has a space bar. Yeah, it's like space bars and a numpad enter. Yeah, it's a weird accent kit. The original muted accent kit was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. But yeah. But yeah, we can first put the regular key set on the board first, and then we can see if we'll put anything else on it. Not sure what really fits this blue. I actually kind of think neither really does. I actually think, okay, I think I would say that Eclipse might have been a really good choice for this particular board, because it features darker colors that fit the navy better. I think the muted colors are actually a little bit too bright for this board color. But you know, whatever. Like, I don't mind, but I do think navy kind of would benefit from a darker sets. Rat Eats, yo, thank you so much. Whoop whoop. 8 months, let's go. Thank you so much. Do we want to go with Eclipse? I mean, where's Eclipse? Because Eclipse is right here. Wait, where's... Check out GMK Eclipse. This is GMK Eclipse. Muted. Eclipse. Yeah, right? The darker alphas look pretty sweet. So, +1 vote for Eclipse. Yeah, let's try Eclipse. I actually kind of feeling like a darker set on this board. I think light sets are fine for the contrast, but yeah, let's recount the votes. Stop the count. Stop the count. Muted with no accents or Eclipse? Yeah. I think that's actually yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Eclipse just cause I kind of feeling like it'll look really good. Just a hunch. So let's act on that hunch. Also, okay. Let's give this a shot. Got the recount, brother. Yeah. Let's see. So here goes Eclipse. How do you guys feel about this right now? It's a slightly lighter blue, but it does the darker alpha sort of offset a bit of that. So how are you guys feeling about it? Just want to hear it. I know. I'm not trying to stall. I'm just trying to actually probe what you guys think about the look. Yeah, I think Eclipse looks pretty good on this. I think navy and the shade of blue still fits. I think what helps is that there's a shade that's lighter, like a lighter blue and a darker blue, because the alphas, the legends of Eclipse are like are this like light blue, and I think it balances out the darker color really well. I think no accents. Yeah. I think I'm gonna lean towards no accents right now, but let's first put the rest of the alphas on. Let's put bars today. Feeling like putting bars this time. Can we use the light blue enter? Yeah, we can. I mean, like it's right here, so we can see how it goes. Yeah, it looks alright. Looks alright. Let's try it. Oh, okay. Is this Space Cadet? No. This is GMK Eclipse. GMK Eclipse. Space Cadet is a much brighter blue than this, and a much brighter gray. Pink. Hello, Yura. Thank you so much for the 2 months. I shilled your desk mat. Can you tell us more about your desk mat that's gonna be running soon on space cables? Can you tell them? Can you tell them when? Yes, tell me more. The sketch one? Just tell them, tell them. All right. Let's see. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be perusing my artisans. Too blue. Oh, okay. Ooh, oh, that one's a nice fit. Ooh, the OSAs by TRMK looks spectacularly good with the fit. I think it's too good to not put it on. Look at this. Look at this match. I think that looks really good. I think that looks really good. I have pictures ready hopefully by tomorrow. Okay. Thank you so much for telling us. The Oya Leaf Dust Mat is going to be live on the 7th. That's on Wednesday. Wednesday on Space Cables. That's a really nice artisan tray on your right. Where from? You mean this one? This tray, this is by Hate. This is the Hate V1 case. And the bigger one is the CC Box V2. Yeah. Alright. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty nice. Alright, let's put a typing test up. Wait, what the? What's up with my monkey type today? It looks weird. Oh, never mind. Okay, that looks good. Alright. Typing test. Music off? I know. Do you open monkey type on 4.1? I did not, I think. I might have, but I don't remember what it looked like, so. But I don't think I did it like for a stream or anything, so. Okay. All right. So let's do this. All right. So we have a Droplet TKL with a full aluminum plate. It's a classic top mount with 10 mounting points, symmetrical around the top and bottom. We have Durock POM switches looped with Krytox 205 grade 0 with Deskeys films. Just keep in mind, these Durock POM linears are actually the prototype units that I was sent initially by Prime KB. Prime Keyboard sent these Durock switches back when they were still preparing for production. So these were the ones that eventually became the current production line in Cobalt POMs and regular Durock POMs that I think you can find on like other sites as well. But yeah, I think the current ones might have slightly tighter housing, so it might not require films. So if a sound might be a slight difference from those, that's something to, I guess, take into consideration. But other than that, we're just gonna be seeing what this sounds like for the board. So here we go. Oops. Oopsie. Oh. Sounds like a top mount linear keyboard with full alu plate. That's exactly what it sounds like. My friend Sifu got it exactly right. It sounds like a full alu plate with a top mount. But it's not terribly stiff actually. It definitely sounds like a pretty typical top mount. I do like the sound of the modifiers, but let's give it one more try. I'm gonna take off these headphones because they're kind of getting in the way. And let's give it a shot. So, and this is what the mods sound like. Do these Durock POMs have longer stems like the creams or just normal? Yes, they do have longer stems. Durock POMs have longer stems for sure. So they do sound louder. Not as long as the cream. Yeah, that is true actually. They do have longer samples, but I think the cream might be even longer. Like the kale stuff tends to be even longer than the JWK stuff that I've seen. So yeah, any thoughts? Do they have slight binding like the creams? No, they don't. These don't have, the JWK or Durock stuff doesn't have any binding for stock switches. They're very smooth stock. Yeah, they're like super smooth stock. So thoughts on the Droplet overall? So yeah, sure, let me give you some thoughts. So I guess my initial thoughts are like, it's overall like a, have any of y'all tried the montage by any chance? The Linworks montage. It's kind of similar to that. It gives me a very similar vibe. So overall, as a top mount board, it's a pretty solid board. Like, there's no like bad reverb for the board. Like, there's no bad sound to it. Like coming from any of the rows in particular. Like, overall, it sounds solid. Like, it sounds like the top, what a top mount should sound like. Yeah, I can actually bring out the montage because I have one. So give me 1 sec. So here's my montage. And oops. Well, so take a listen. So on the montage, we have Cherry Mix Blacks, and on the Droplet, we have Durock POMs. So but like the overall feel to these two boards is the same. It's top mount. They both have, I think the montage, if I recall, has 8 mounting points. I think it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. This one has 10. The overall feeling is about the same. The montage does sound a bit more on the slightly more hollow end of things, whereas the Droplet sounds a bit kind of like a bit fuller, a bit like flatter inside of the case. But the feeling is pretty typical like top mount aluminum plate board. Both of them have aluminum plates. Yeah, classic unoffensive Korean top mount feel. Yeah, that's pretty much a perfect description if you have tried like normal top mount TKL with alu plates, right? If you have tried that before, if you tried that combination before, it's pretty much that, okay? Just like nothing wrong with it. It's not like, you should not expect immense amount of displacement and flexibility and that kind of stuff, because it's not supposed to be. First of all, it's a solid typing experience. That also, I also realized I totally put the wrong keycaps here. I think it's scroll lock and then pause, but you know, it's an overall like solid typing feel with like no issues whatsoever. And so yeah, like it's like if I were looking for a top mount TKL, either of them would be great, right? Like either of these two boards would be fantastic. I personally like the finish of the Droplet more, right? This deep navy, more vivid looking paint finish is fantastic. Okay, I love it. I really like it. The more I look at it, Compared to this flatter looking like anodizing, right? This is also kind of like matte looking anodizing. It looks pretty nice still. It's kind of blue grayish. It looks nice. But this paint finish looks pretty neat. Like, I think it's just a very cool finish. So it's kind of unique look wise. At least in the montage is very simple. The Droplet has a bit more going to it. Well, I mean, there's the internal side, right? Like, we already showed that, but I think like the sides are a little bit more interesting. The sides are a little bit more interesting. The bottom weight, like, you know, this look has a bit of, like, it's a bit more distinctive. But again, it's still a TKL. It's still a top mount TKL with 2 pieces for the case. You can replace these accents for whatever you want, and you know, they'll kind of be there as an extra flair. But overall, like, there were no tolerance issues or anything like that I found. Like, the assembly was simple and easy to do, and I do like the port of this. Really, like, I think the port here is done really nicely. Fits the port really well here. That you could even have a USB-C here and it wouldn't be an issue, which is pretty cool. But overall, typing feel, if you're looking for classic top mount, full alu plate, like full alu plate TKL sound feel, I mean, like, feel, you should, like, the Droplet is a perfectly fine choice. Montage sound crispier, yeah, it definitely is a bit more muted, or not muted, but like a bit deeper sound on the Droplet, a bit more clackier on the MX Blacks here. But again, that also probably has to do with the fact that normally my MX Black switches on, like, on most boards actually, I don't heavily lube my MX Black switches. Like, my cherry switchers, I almost never lube them heavily. I lube them very lightly because I like keeping some of that clackier sound signature that comes from the like more stock feeling of the switch. Like, I don't like over lubing like cherry MX switches in general. Like, the same goes for both linears and like ergo clears or whatever. I try not to lube them too heavily, because I just like that brighter sound to them. Cherry purist route, yeah. Yeah. Are the 2 acrylic sides included with the board? I believe these, let me check the group by page actually. I believe the group by page might have that info, but they might have been, I think the let me check. Let me double check. I believe, let's see. Extra side parts. You could buy extra side parts, but I think the side parts are probably matched to the weight. So if it's like a brass weight, then you get a brass sides, and if you want the extra polycarb, it's $30 per the kit. You can choose between them. Okay, so you can choose between the two. So you can choose between the two, and if you want both, you can just purchase the extra for $33. The navy is too purplish for me. I also think the camera is doing a bit of tricks, but it definitely is blue. Okay. Did you get 7V? I did not get 7V. I did not get a 7V. So no need to ask me questions about the 7V because I don't know anything about it. Or at least personally. But it definitely is a blue though. It might look purple in certain light, but in my, like, it's in front of my eyes, it looks navy. It looks blue. It's not purple. It's not purple at all. It definitely is blue. But it's a more vibrant blue for sure. So it has a bit more vibrance compared to the grayish tones of the montage. The montage is actually kind of like blue grayish. So yeah, even though it was supposed to be like navy colored or whatever. You can choose between gold, silver, and PC sides. Okay, that's cool. I've heard people say that the Durock POMs are sluggish. What do you think? Smooth but sluggish? I don't think these are sluggish at all. I don't know. I tried cobalt POMs too, and I did not think they were sluggish at all. I thought they were pretty snappy and smooth. But that was my experience. I'm not sure if other people agree, but I actually found that kale creams, like the novelty creams, are much more like scratchy or scratchier, like stock especially, and probably would lead to a sluggier switch if you lube them heavily. And like, let's say you lube them the same way on the Cobalts or the Durock POMs. I think the Durock POMs are actually much smoother than NK creams. So I personally really like these switches. I actually really liked how they sound. Actually, I think they sound better than creams, to be honest. I like the sound to these better than creams. And also, like, if I had to choose between the two, I probably would just pick these. Is the Durock POM as smooth as Alpaca? I think Alpacas also come slightly pre-lubed, I think. I think Cobalts, do Cobalts come pre-lubed? I actually don't remember they come pre-lubed. Just don't remember right now. I have some spares around, but I just don't have them like near me, so I have to go get them. But Alpacas do come slightly pre-lubed, so that's why they're gonna be pretty smooth. I like my lavenders more than my cobalts. So lavenders are different because lavenders are full nylon, whereas cobalts are full POM. But I personally do think that the full POM switches from Durock are really smooth, even stock. Unlike the NK cream, where you do have to break them in to get that extra smooth bump, like extra smoothness upgrade, basically. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about the switches in general. So yeah, I'll give you guys a closer look of the board one more time, and if you want me to do a typing test, I can do it. If not, ask me for it if you want it, but if not, ask me any questions you have. We're pretty much done. So I'm just gonna do a quick last tour of the board. So this is our Droplet TKL. Sides. Bottom. This is brass. It's just been treated, finished like in their same like paint, silver sort of paint, and coated. Again, sides. Definitely a thicker seam, as Sifo did mention. Might be because of the coating also. I think the coating can factor into the seam. Maybe it's a little bit tighter if I... Yeah, maybe. But the color scheme is really nice. What keycaps? This is GMK Eclipse. GMK Eclipse. You can practically see the screws through the seam. The one on the side. Is it? I can't see it, but can you? I can't see it myself here. I can't see it. Maybe I didn't tighten enough. Okay, sure. Maybe I didn't tighten enough. I'll tighten slightly more. I'll tighten slightly more. It's 6 pounds, I think. Yeah, it's about 6 pounds. 6 pounds built. The seam is because of the side's thickness. Yeah. Yeah, I think it might have to do with the coating too. It's a little better, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see. I think it's because of this thing. I think the side, the pieces are a bit thicker too. That looks more normal. Yeah, I think maybe I just needed to tighten it slightly more. I think it's fine though. Yeah. Is this a proto? I missed a stream. Yeah, it's a sample unit. It is indeed a sample unit. Accent tolerances were unaccounted for, easy fix for the end. I see. I've modified the thickness of the size so there will be no problem with the final version. Okay, so there you go. So the size, by the size, they're talking about this. So James Sorankom here, who is in chat, he is working with Bahm on this, and on the Droplet, and he's referring to these side pieces. As you can see if you look very closely, the side piece is slightly thicker than the actual groove, so that's why you are seeing a bit of expansion of the seam there. So it should be even more flush once that's revised, which is a very, very slight change. So should be okay in the production units. This is a sample, so there's that. Maybe if I use these, might look even better seam wise. So yeah. So many nice TKLs in 2020. So many nice TKLs every year. There's always new TKLs every year. Every year there's TKLs. And 65%. I think those two layouts right now in this community are ubiquitous yearly. Every year, all the time. There's never a shortage of those. Alright, so I'm gonna just check who is streaming, but we're basically done for tonight. If you have any last few questions, feel free to shoot. One more typing test, please. Okay, sure, I can do that. I can do that before we go. Wait, hold up. All right. Focus. All right. All right. Here we go. One more time. So again, this is Durock POMs on an aluminum plate, exclamation build for the details. And here we go. Again, here's the modifiers. Alright, I think that covers it. Hopefully it's good for you. If you're expecting the board, well then, whoop, I think it's a pretty neat board to expect. I like the look of it, personally. And I think the finish for the paint is actually pretty neat. It's kind of something that I've seen other paint boards before, and I feel like I've seen like some white, for example, and like it could have some splotchiness and stuff. But this is the finish on this paint. I will have to say it's really good. I want to show it if you want. Look at it up close. Like, this is the way the finish looks. Can you see how it has that pearlescent? Has that pearlescent look to the navy to it, right? So it's pretty nice. You can see it's very, very smooth though. It's a very smooth finish. So it looks great. So it looks pretty nice. Show the butt, sure. How's the top accent piece? The top accent piece does look pretty nice. So here's the accent piece. Again, the tolerances of this are subject to change slightly. Slightly thinner, so it's like the seam will be even closer, so you'll see it actually completely shut there. But it does look pretty good, in my opinion. That's the bottom piece, the bottom weights here. Yeah. No USB-C though. You can actually probably use a USB-C port here. I think the USB-C actually fits. So if you got like an H87C, I think you could actually fit it in here. Like, look. Like, the port actually fits in the opening, so I think you can use USB-C as well. So the cutout is actually USB-C compatible. So, yeah. Yep. H87 works. Great. Great. Good to know. Good to know. Bahm said so. Okay, cool. Oh, the PCB shell be USB-C type. Oh, that's even better. We are in the world of USB-C now. USB Mini is over. I mean, well, there's still keyboards out there that still use it, but it's because it's just legacy. But yeah, USB-C is the future. Will the video go up on YouTube? Came pretty late. Yes, I always upload my VODs. Normally they go up a day after the stream, so you'll probably see it on Monday morning. Like it's a full 24 hours, and then like on sometimes I try to put it out like in the morning, so that people actually see it when they wake up. So yeah, you'll probably see it on Monday morning. And then I'll probably put a typing test up, like a sound test kind of thing, typing video, at some point, and then I'll probably snap some pictures at some point. And upload those probably like later in the week though. Normally I get busy, so I try to give it some time between things. But yeah, the VOD itself though will definitely be up on my YouTube channel soon, on Monday. But if not, you can actually see the VOD here on Twitch. If you want to watch the VOD here on Twitch, it's here on Twitch until then. So yeah, you can just go to my the videos tab under my channel, and you should be able to find the broadcast. Should be recorded on my Twitch as well. Yep. So I think that's all I got. So let me see who's streaming. Minterly is still streaming with she's I think the I Don't Mind event is still going. So if it still indeed is in full throttle, we'll go raid them, because it's a great cause to support, and they've been doing this all weekend. And you know, I personally relate to a lot of this, and I really think that mental health is super important, and I would strongly suggest you guys to check it out and support the cause. It's for a great cause, to support mental health in America. What Keycaps said is that this is GMK Eclipse by Tom Berry, also the person who designed GMK Carbon, Toxic, Yuri, Boneyard, and among others. Yeah, he's done a lot. They raised over 10K. It's so awesome. Yeah. They've done that, and all the auctions are like huge too. So it's amazing. So let's go raid them. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming by, for checking out the stream, and I'll probably see you guys later this week. Next up on the channel, we're gonna have do expect some more prototypes soon. I think next up I have a GAF 60 keyboard to build, and then after that I might have one of the prototype units that I was sent to check out as well. So yeah, thank you so much everybody, and let's go raid Minterly. Alright, just waiting for that. And WR Mandex, thanks for the hydrate. Have a good night. Thank you so much, Nightwalker. I'll see you on the next one. But yeah, thanks everybody. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. And yeah, take care, and check out Minterly stream, and please support their cause. I think it's a great one. So alright everybody, take care and have a good night. See you later.